Hey there, toy collector friends and Doctor Who fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. This is the Time Travelling Toy Collector, and this is the Doctor Who 13th Doctor collector figure set, one of the many. Limited editions, although how limited are they, from B&M. It's a B&M exclusive, rather. It's actually from Character Options, but it's a B&M exclusive. And this edition features a screaming weeping angel, Yaz in casual clothes, and the 13th Doctor in what I'm describing as the division coat, to illustrate it's an alternate version of the Doctor. It's the coat that the 13th Doctor wore whilst appearing as part of the division, or arguably when representing the entity of time. You can decide. And I managed to pick this up finally. It was a bit of a challenge to locate it. And I know other people have had similar issues trying to secure B&M exclusives. It's a real nightmare. Let's not mess about with that. It's a shame though, as well, because I really enjoyed collecting Doctor Who figures when they started coming out, because I come from an era where we didn't really have collectible Doctor Who figures. And action figures we had. Towards the latter end of the programme's existence, we had the Dapple figures, which were variable in quality, shall we say. Beautifully collectible now, obviously, for those that love that sort of thing, but I can't not say variable in quality. But getting hold of these B&M figures is proving to be, or has proven to be, really divisive for collectors. And you know what, not even collectors, just kids that want to have the action figures. Because B&M don't appear to have received them in a timely fashion. Similarly, B&M don't appear to have received them in equitable volume. And I get that's sometimes the case to sort of drive up the collectability of figures. You know, I get how the mechanics of that can work. But to be perfectly honest, I don't know why, you know, they make it's a level of difficulty that isn't fun. You know, and people are scouring B&M stores, much like in the US. I think people scour Target stores for some of those exclusive Transformers figures or releases that are exclusive to Target. It's a nice gimmick, but if you don't live near one, it's a nightmare. And then you're a bit subject to the dread that is the secondary market online, because people will find ways. And bless some stores, they do say, well, you can't buy more than two or more than three per customer. And of course, then they just go in 3 or 4 times and buy 3 every time. So, you know, there's ways around it, but at least they're trying, you know, it's the best they can do. That's great. So, you know, I think this is a lovely set, but it does make, I have to ask a question, and I'm asking the YouTube-verse and the Whoniverse out there in the YouTube-verse, whether or not I've imagined something, and I may have done. But somebody else may be more aware than I am, which is entirely probable. Of a decision not to proceed or something else. But I recall when this box set was announced with the Weeping Angel, the dark coated Doctor and Yaz, that there was also a collection that was announced which included the 13th Doctor as a Weeping Angel. Am I the only one that remembers that? Did I in fact invent that memory? It's not impossible, you know, I could have invented it. But I can see it in my mind's eye as clear as day, the 13th Doctor in that sort of weeping angel pose. And I've never been able to find it. And funnily enough, just before recording this, I did a quick online search to see if anyone had got one, or anyone had found one, or anyone was even talking about it. And there was a disturbing void in terms of it, which is making me think maybe it was a crazy dream that I had and haven't yet realised that I was not awake when I saw it. But I could have sworn when these were announced, there was a Doctor as a prisoner of the Weeping Angels in the sort of Weeping Angel form that was being released as a figure, and I was suddenly very desperate to get it, and have failed dismally ever since. But if it's not real, that will probably explain why I've not been able to get hold of it. Anyway, if you can remember this, or you actively know it didn't happen, or you know that it was supposed to happen but didn't for a reason, then please drop a comment in the below and let me know, because it's you know, driving me insane. And whilst you are down there, as they say, If you could possibly just subscribe to the channel. A lot of people watching haven't subscribed to the channel, and it's just a little click, tiny little click for you, and it makes such a difference for me and other fledgling YouTube channels such as I. If you could do that and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, it is great. Anyway, back to the thing in hand, because I know you're busy. We're all busy, so let's get on with it. These figures are actually really nice. I'm not big on collecting the companions. There's a few that I probably would pick up if I had the opportunity, and they were made, but they haven't made the ones I'd be getting yet. But that's a real nostalgia buzz for me. So I don't pick up all the figures, but I do pick up ones that I think are particularly nice and or different, which is hence my interest in the Weeping Angel version of the Doctor. But I really like this because I wanted that variant of the 13th Doctor with the dark coat, particularly having picked up the 60th anniversary 2 figure with the 14th Doctor allegedly and the 13th Doctor in the Master's hodgepodge costume. Which I just thought was a lovely figure, and I had to get it, so I did. And it was on the wake of that I picked this one up when I finally was able to track it down and see it. But I think it's they're really nice figures. I love the I've never had a translucent Weeping Angel, which is not a sentence I actually woke up this morning thinking I was going to say. And again, the Yaz figure's quite good. I don't do an awful lot of sort of redecoing or customization. I don't do any, really, to be perfectly honest. So I do enjoy watching other people on YouTube or on Instagram, for example, who do some amazing customizations of their figures. And by all means, again, drop a link in the comments below to anyone you think does exceptional work around customizing Doctor Who figures or TARDISes or anything like that. Because I see some amazing ones, and I do follow some, but you know, there's a lot of great creative people out there, and I'm just so jealous of their skill in that. So I've not taken these figures out. I may do. I may only take out the 13th Doctor just so it can go with my sort of freestanding range of Doctor Who main Doctor figures. And by the end of this, I'll have talked myself into taking them all out. But also the Weeping Angel, I think I might take out to put with my villains. I did make a point, to be perfectly fair, and while I'm doing that, let me turn the box around so you can see what's on the reverse. A little bit of blur about the 13th Doctor from that sort of concluding series of the 13th Doctor, the Flux season, as we probably want to call it. But I did tend to only collect loose Doctor Who figures when I started, because I thought, well, once I've got them, having lived through the sort of Star Wars scenario, there's just a little list of what's included. I'll tell you what's not included, just for those who are interested and for completeness. There's no sonic screwdriver with this Doctor. We did get one with the other Doctor, other versions of the 13th Doctor, but there isn't one for here. And all the standard points of articulation are there. We can see them through the packaging. So we've got shoulders, elbows, biceps, I think wrist in most cases, neck, and in most cases, but possibly not with the Weeping Angel for understandable reasons, leg rotation, as well as waist rotation. Some of it may be hampered by, for example, the Doctor's coat, but I think we can see all 3 figures have got that. And of course the limited edition gold sticker, but quite how many is in that limited edition, it never really tells us anywhere. So, unless I'm missing it, but I don't think I am. So yes, let me pop that back there. I may or may not take them out. Watch this space. But yeah, I tended to just get figures that were already loose so I could put them in my cabinet for display purposes. Because as I say, having been burnt by the Star Wars phenomenon, there's an element of me that if I get a lovely pristine figure, there's a part of me that doesn't want to open the box or take it. Or if it's a blister pack, you know, if it's a blister pack, I don't want to take it off that, because I think, oh, once you do that, because again, as identified talking about customs, I'm not artistic in that sense. I'm really not very skilled. So if I were to take a figure out of a like a bubble pack thing where it's got a carded back and there's a freestanding figure on it, I would not do that well. And I know this because I've tried. I tried it with my Power of the Force R2-D2 and C-3PO so that I could keep as much of the card and the plastic bubble intact, so I could at least store the figures back inside. It was not the most successful thing I've ever done. Wasn't too bad, wasn't as bad as I anticipated, but again, the more I do it, the more, some would say the more you do it, the better you get. I would say the more I do it, the more risk occurs that I'm going to make a terrible, terrible mistake. So I do have a few carded Star Wars figures, and other figures, to be fair, but, oh, not Star Wars figures, sorry, I've gone mad. I do have quite a few carded Star Wars figures now as a result of that, but I also do have a few carded Doctor Who figures, which is what I was talking about, so I went off on a random tangent. And I'm very grateful to have them, and some that are in boxes still that I've never taken out, which took a great deal of personal restraint that I didn't think I had, to be honest. But for example, the Victory of the Daleks, Winston Churchill, and the Ironhide little box set, Ironside. Is that what it's called? What's it called? Now you see, I'm losing it because I'm still trapped in that mindset where somewhere in the multiverse there's a 13th Doctor figure of the 13th Doctor as a weeping angel, and it's screwing with my entire recollection of things. That everything now sounds wrong. Whatever I say in my head sounds wrong. So parking all of that, basically I've got some of the relatively recently released Doctor Who sets that came, and they're still in their boxes, which also includes like the Sontaran spaceship, scout ship, and the Sontaran figure, etc. Some of those things I managed to get hold of. Enemies of the Third Doctor, Enemies of the First Doctor, I managed to get hold of those, kept those, because I thought actually these are quite nice display boxes, I'm going to keep them. But as I'm talking through, I may very well dig these out and get some of them in front of the camera just so you can have a look at them, and it's nice to revisit them. One of the reasons I got them was because it's nice from a new nostalgia, because obviously this is a lot of the stuff was from the new series of Doctor Who. Some of the other stuff did hark back to the 60s and 70s and 80s, and I do have some of those sets, and I'm very grateful to have them. But for me, that all feeds into the nostalgia element of that. But things like this catch my attention, A, because if I keep it in the box, it'll be because it feeds into my current sense of nostalgia. I'm building nostalgia for the future when I look back on the 13th Doctor's era and decide what I think about it properly when there's a bit of distance. Because I had mixed feelings. I think you do for all seasons. But there were some stories that were stronger, and there are some stories that are weaker in every season of Doctor Who across time. You know, that's just the nature of TV programmes, I'm afraid. But it's whether or not overall there were more of one or the other, or it was just a bit of an even mix. And I don't know if I've quite decided yet. I think it's due a rewatch at some point. But anyway, back to the figures in hand. Really like this set, really like the mix. The problem I have is now I have a Yaz. Do I need to get a Graham? Do I need to get all of them? Maybe not. I'm not necessarily gravitating to that, and it may well be nothing to do with the character, nothing to do with the actor, sorry. But Yaz may stay not in display because I don't have many of the companions on display. I have limited space, so it's mainly the Doctors, various iterations of the Doctor, key foes, and TARDISes, and of course the console range that was produced by Eagle Moss and Hero Collector, still with a couple of gaps in it. So fingers crossed at some point they'll be either released and announced, because maybe they were made in the background before things went wrong, or a new company will take them on, and hooray, we'll see. So do I think you want to collect a set like this? Well, I don't know. You might do. I don't know. It's again quite divisive. Do people want to collect action figures, or do want people to have action figures so you can have some action with them? There's no diorama for display, so you've literally got the box, the window, lots of plastic, the window, and the figures there, which is why I'm toying with the idea of getting them out and on display, because I think it could be that they're better off that way. I don't think, although the packaging is nice, and the packaging will over time probably stand me in a better position if I wanted to move these on, I I don't know that that's what I'm in it for. I certainly don't believe it's what I'm in it for. So yeah, I may get them out. I'm also quite tempted to try and stick a light up the Weeping Angel and see how that looks. But yeah, certainly from my perspective, I think that as a collector's set, I would recommend, yeah, get one in hand, have a look at it, see if you think it's something that does tickle your fancy, does engage your, piques your interest or your creativity. They're not bad figures by any stretch of the imagination. It's just I collect them for a very specific purpose, which would be display. And I might not do all of them, but definitely that 13th Doctor, I think, the more I look at it, the more I think it's coming out. And the more, once one's out, the other one might come out as well. Because why wouldn't you? Because why wouldn't you? Yeah, you talked me into it, folks. Thanks very much. Okay, thanks for spending the last 15 minutes with me as I take a little perusal around this 13th Doctor collector figure set from Hero, from Character Options and from B&M. It was a B&M exclusive set. Do let me know down in the comments below whether or not you actually have any recollection of this phantom Weeping Angel Doctor figure, or whether I've completely invented that. And I may have done. I fully accept that I may have done. And yeah, I very much look forward to seeing you in a future video. Stick around, have a little look around the channel if you like. Thank you for spending the last just over a quarter of an hour with me. I do appreciate you've got other things you could be doing and you haven't done them. You've stayed here with me. That's amazing. Check out my other Doctor Who stuff. I've also got some Batman stuff, some Star Trek stuff, some Star Wars stuff, Transformers stuff. There's a whole range of stuff, basically. So do by all means have a peruse, see what you think. And I look very much, as I say, forward to seeing you in a future video. Just remains for me to say that a thing, or things of beauty, really are a toy forever. Grammatically, that was dreadful. Okay, take care. Bye-bye for now.